Hello everybody. Today we've got Funkasaurus of Team Canada playing ADV against B is for Brutus, aka dekzeh of Team Brazil. He's leading Suicune, and that can indicate either offensive or defensive. Calm Mind doesn't really tell us anything except the fact that it's not Roar Rest Talk on a stall team. Funkasaurus's Fortress indicates spikes as it uses for free, since Suicune is not going to be running HP Fire. That wouldn't even kill it anyway. So bar crit, Fortress was getting those spikes. Now Explosion would really put a dent in Coon, but Substitute can block it, and it does. So Dex is in a good position already. You know, spikes aren't quite as crucial as Stealth Rock in later gen, so it's often not worth it to trade a Pokemon like that. And dekzeh probably would not have calm-minded like that first turn unless he was totally okay with Suicune getting exploded on really early, which he probably wasn't. And I'm not sure if I agree with the explosion, seeing as how little that, Surf does. Although, to be fair, Hydro Pump does a massive chunk, so perhaps it was better. Fishing for the Body Slam Paralysis, not getting it, but with a good roll, this will kill it. And Suicune will have gotten a pseudo 2-for-1. It would, Para. Nice, so Lax gets some more leftovers recovery, that's nice. So dekzeh made a pretty nice trade. He weakened the hell out of Snorlax. It's not checking much else besides a Blissey, which I guess it's... So Suicune wasn't doing that much with Surf. Like, I'm used to Hydro Pump doing a little more, because Subcoon often doesn't run max special attack, even though it does run modest, sometimes timid, because it wants those 101 subs and a good amount of speed. So Ductrio comes in, and as it does, it picks off the weakened grounded Pokemon. However, Spooky Gengar comes in to threaten everything, because Gengar is fucking dangerous, and we are seeing... dekzeh is known for his Calm Mind spam, so we could be seeing a team like that. And nothing here really likes taking the threat of Ice Punch, Thunderbolt, and Will-O-Wisp from Gengar. Swampert would hate Will-O-Wisp, but it would like at least wall the coverage decently. But there's also the threat of, Giga Drain. So Funkasaurus is running, you know, pretty standard-ish looking team. Oh, Jolteon, that's nice, and a Hypnosis, which I did not mention, although it's very common on Gengar. Silly me. So Jolteon, you know, with spikes up, it would be worse if there was sand, which there very well could be. We could see a switch to T-Tar here. There's Porygon too, which can take Gengar easily without sand up, and even with sand, although the spike will annoy it, it can generally do pretty well, really well actually. And it takes the Ice Punch for nothing. So I guess he just wanted Jolteon down. I would guess there's a Tyranitar there, since T-Tar really helps out Fortress. We could be seeing CBB's old team. And there's T-Tar, so that would mean the last two are Swampert and either CB Mence or CB Arrow. dekzeh running a team I am not familiar with. He is a good team builder and can churn them out on a pretty consistent basis. You know, they might not be super crispy innovations, but you know, you don't need to reinvent the metagame to make a new good team. So there's Toxic, as not thinking CB, because on a team with Fortress, the likelihood of HP Ghost is really low, and that Tyranitar is minus speed natured and mixed, meaning it's not unless it's like sub Focus Punch with HP Grass and a minus speed nature, which I mean is not out of the question, but it's not going to with Fortress. It needs the pursuit support. Then P2 is pretty safe, sitting in, toxicing in, and recovering it. It is Roar. That is the CBB favorite. I think comes Celebi. So the spikes, you know, dig into it a little, and sand prevents it from recovering leftovers. Salamence or Arrow would make a good switch here, seeing as dekzeh does not really want to switch into either at this point, since Porygon 2 is weakened, spikes and sand are up. So he might also... The old CBB set was Rock Slide, Earthquake, HP Bug Roar, but that meant that Fortress was utterly unable to do anything against Gengar blocking its spins, and I don't think that that he would make the switch to HP Ghost or something like that. Excuse me, I was distracted by the wonderful invention known as Snapchat. We see Calm Mind expecting Crunch and get Rock Slide. So now Giga Drain is going to kill it. And he's going to get all his health back, and not a good situation. I guess Arrow, I wasn't really seeing much wrong with the Arrow switch there, especially since the only Pokemon that he has to even speed tie at Jolteon. Granted, Arrow's faster than most things usually, sometimes you're like, Jolteon speed tie, but it's asleep. So he's in a really good position to just fuck shit up with Arrow, but not if Celebi is at full, since it can take 1 HP flying, usually. It doesn't take a hell of a lot of bulk. And unless he's running HP Bug Arrow, which is a decent set since it hits Celebi and it also hits Claydol super effectively, and its biggest pro is that it hits incoming Tyranitar trying to absorb the HP flying really hard, so it doesn't give it a free turn to do whatever it wants. So there's Gengar on the drain, and denying the recovery. That's nicely done there. Perhaps he's going to sacrifice it, saying, I'm probably not getting by Porygon. And the last, we can assume is a Rock Resist, because Dugtrio doesn't count. And I would assume that dekzeh would, he's just going to Ice Punch and say, oh, it's Calm Mind. I did not consider that possibility. And I can't believe it either, because that is one of my favorite strategies. One of my best teams uses offensive Calm Mind Celebi, baton passing into Porygon 2 and other such threats. And did I say Jirachi? I think I did, because I'm great, as you can see, and Jirachi gets past the Calm Mind, takes no damage as Celebi soaks up the hit for it. What a team player. And Jirachi's looking real dangerous if it's just standard Fire Punch HP Grass. Because Gengar's T-Bolt is not going to put it in Arrow range. Granted, it can't kill Arrow back without Ice Punch, but even Ice Punch over Fire Punch, which I believe Java favors, I've never really liked it because Fire Punch is really nice for Metagross and such. But without that, or the rarer T-Bolt, which also is serviceable, then it won't be able to kill Arrow. However, if it's got Ice Punch or T-Bolt and HP Grass, then this game might be over. So there's the Arrow, and Earthquake is really free, which is not bad either, but he's really got to get that kill, because everything else dies. Nope, he's going to sack Celebi, so I guess he knows it's important, and Porygon 2 gets his recover off here. Thing is, he's going to struggle to kill this Porygon 2 without Rock Slide, and dekzeh conserved the Jirachi very nicely there, knowing that he needs it to dissuade the Rock Slide. So, knowing that the last is Pert, he's going to go for Earthquake, saying, hey, if I'm going to get that crit, I may as well try for it, since that's pretty much game. And if not, well, it's not like I had great options to go to instead, so that's fair there. So, Swampert without Toxic will also get, there's Swampert, there's Shrek, who gets Toxic. Without a Toxic of his own, he is not gonna, want to deal with this P2. And dekzeh's in a really, really good spot. So, I think he would have to, I might have gone to Tyranitar there to roar around, and granted, after Dugtrio kills it, if he roars that in, then Arrow gets another kill, but he has the sleeping Jolteon to sacrifice, which probably has HP Ice too, so it's not like he was losing a Swampert killer. And he might have actually wanted to keep Pert untoxic. I mean, it's probably not going to take a hell of a lot of damage unless he tries to actually fight this one-on-one. Maybe delivering a Torrent-boosted Hydro, but dekzeh will be smart enough to switch out from that, I assume. And I'm not sure, he'll need a lot of Rock Slide luck to break through the P2 with Arrow Rock Slide. And even if he uses it, then that's a free switch for Jirachi. So I was going to say he wanted Pert, pretty healthy, because it can take a Jirachi HP Grass from full, unboosted of course. So, we'll see. I think Tyranitar is the better play here on the, what's it called? The recovered, yeah. So this is got a pretty nice team. I'm not a fan of what's it called? I apologize for all the ahs and ums, and I'm working on that. but I'm not a fan of the lack of, Blissey Killer, but he's got, I did it again, didn't I? But then again, he has the tools to beat Blissey, if it's the Toxic T-Wave set, Toxic or T-Wave set, or both, it's viable, then he can just have Celebi Calm Mind on it for days, with wariness of Dugtrio, of course. And he can, if the Calm Mind set, then he just goes to Coon and roars its ass out. Or hell, he can go to Jolteon and roar its ass out. Jolteon continues the pass too, it's very nice. Usually you see Raikou in that slot on the infamous dekzeh Calm Mind spam team, but he switched it up very nicely. And if it's the Toxic T-Wave set, I don't even know if I said this right, but he can just go to Jirachi. Hell, he can force it out with T-Wave Porygon 2, shrugging off the paralysis if he switches out by tracing Natural Cure. So yeah, and of course he's got Dugtrio for a weakened one. The only time it might get problematic if there's a Roar Zapdos backing the Blissey up, preventing Celebi from Calm Minding all over the place. Then again, Funk isn't really known for using either of those dudes, so it's a pretty safe pick. And for all I know, he has Psychic over. No, he has Giga Drain, and he doesn't want to give up HP Fire because you need that coverage. And otherwise, Scarm phases you all day, and that's arguably worse. And maybe he can lure in what's its face, Zapdos early on and chunk it with Ice Beam. But yeah, we'll see. Perhaps the Jirachi has been given Wish as well for extra, for extending its teammates' longevity. So in Brazil Rain, as Dex said, it did not DC. He's just thinking real hard. So, we'll see. I think Recover is unequivocally the best play here. Although in theory he doesn't really have a hell of a lot to switch into a Toxic. And but I think Porygon can stay alive well enough even if it eats one of those. So it would be a matter of, well, I guess he doesn't really need Dugtrio since he could probably stall out the Poison T-Tar at that health, especially since it's not really doing a lot of damage. It has Rock Slide, Roar, and Pursuit. So there's a Hydro crit. Whew. Well, I mean, if Porygon's still stalling this out, he needs 2 in a row. I suppose, and I don't think Tyranitar would have. Well, I think CBB used Earthquake in the last slot. Rock Slide, Earthquake, Pursuit, Roar. So he could touch Jirachi, but it would, get finished off pretty easily by the HP Grass. So, we'll see. So, Hydro did more than I expected. I guess he jacked up the special attack investment. I don't see Hurt Hydroing P2 very often, so I don't really have that calc memorized. And even Earthquake is doing, 30. Maybe Dex is running the forgotten, modest 16 special attack Porygon. Which I think it needs defense with to stand up to Salamence and Gyarados and Dugtrio and such. And he's deciding, hey, I'm not doing that. I'm not letting P2 go down. He's going to sack the sleeping Jolteon. And it survives, too, so it gets another turn. And it will see a double down. As I wonder, because Arrow is definitely the best switch for Funk to make. So it's a question of whether Porygon 2 or Jirachi. Oh, I forgot. That's with later gen mechanics. Silly me. Oh, this has not been a good narration. Well, not very good. I deeply apologize for that. But either way, Arrow is the best switch for whatever Porygon 2, for either the Porygon 2 or Jirachi. So the question is, which one does he want to have it fight? I would guess that he would rather have it Dugtrio. Okay, that I overlooked. I was like, it's just gonna die, but then I'm like, yeah, it's gonna die, and it has to lock itself into a move to do so. Adamant Arrow gets outrun by Jolly Doug, but Jolly Doug can't kill it anyway. So, Adamant Arrow is, incidentally, a Pokemon Dexet likes to use. So, he's gonna... I don't think we're gonna see... No, I was gonna say, are we gonna see Double Edge? We're not gonna see Double Edge. Why the fuck would we see Double Edge? since that invites Jirachi in, and he does not want to invite Jirachi in. He would rather have the P2 in. He's going for the another, if it's given to me, I'll take it crit. And now T-Turn has to come in. He does not want to. He could probably. I don't think. I mean, Jirachi's at 76% before spikes and the leftovers, so he's at roughly 70. It is possible for him to flinch the Jirachi out. I mean, he has to flinch out the Porygon too. Get it? Porygon 2. He's going for another Earthquake. Uh-oh. This crits. It's over. There's a freeze. He can still unthaw. But nope, there's no thaw. There's Ice Beam, and Dex is going to take this one. So, there was another... There was a lot of luck needed. So I think it's safe to say Dekzeh was going to take that one anyway. Again, I apologize for the low by my standards narration. I definitely could have improved on that. I was not taking a lot of things into consideration. But a good game to both you guys. I love you both. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you later.